Okay, we are talking wound healing, and it's not just about wound healing, it's also about degenerative disease. Wounds, as we've said numerous times, wounds that don't heal are a kind of a model for degenerative disease. Last we spoke, we addressed the relevance of insulin and blood sugar issues or dysglycemia to wound healing. Insulin is a major component of the wound healing process, or actually, more exactly, insulin response is a major component of the wound healing process. That means insulin sensitivity, the body or the cell's ability to respond to insulin, because diabetes and prediabetes and messed up blood sugar is such a significant health issue. Over time, our cells stop listening to insulin. If we eat lots of insulin spiking foods, over time, cells just don't pay attention to the message of insulin. And over time, dysglycemia, messed up insulin, messed up blood sugar become part and parcel of the aging process, and most of us are to some degree or another dysglycemic. Most of us, to some degree or another, have some kind of problem with insulin sensitivity or how our bodies are responding to insulin or how our blood sugar is being controlled. And this is even if you haven't been diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. I talk to so many people who are dealing with degenerative health issues or autoimmune diseases, and they're like, well, my doctor said I wasn't a diabetic. It doesn't matter what your doctor says. It doesn't matter what the tests tell you. The tests are just based on standard bell curves. All tests are. All diagnostic tests are based on standard reference values, and they're not designed for you. They're designed for drug companies, and they're designed for insurance companies, and they're designed for Kaiser Permanente to be able to bill you and bill your insurance company. That's the purpose of a test. Doesn't matter what your test tells you. If you're dealing with some kind of degenerative health crisis, whether you're autoimmune disease or some kind of wound that doesn't heal, whatever it is, chances are pretty good, no matter what your test says, that you got messed up blood sugar. Chances are pretty good that your thyroid's messed up, regardless of what your TSH score is. The chances are pretty good that you're dealing with some kind of messed up chemistry, regardless of what your test says. And when it comes to insulin, most of us, as we get older, have some degree or another of messed up blood sugar, and it's probably relevant, especially if you have a wound that doesn't heal or if you have a degenerative health crisis. It's probably a good idea, and it's probably relevant to consider reducing your intake of insulin spiking foods that desensitize, reduce the sensitivity, dumb down the sensitivity of the insulin response. This is especially true if you have a slow healing wound. And once again, I know I'm saying this a lot, but it's really important. Wounds that don't heal, or wounds that are slow to heal, are analogous to degenerative disease. In fact, slow healing wounds or non-healing wounds can be considered a marker, a sign, and a model of degenerative disease. That means, in essence, if you want to slow down the aging process or even reverse the aging process, focus on resensitizing your insulin response by eating less insulin-spiking foods, breads and pastas and cereals and potatoes and rice and all the foods we love so much. Eating less of those kinds of foods, and in addition, using nutritional supplements to potentize, to re-sensitize the insulin response. The sweeties from Youngevity, chromium and vanadium, two of the most important insulin sensitizing, insulin potentizing, insulin strengthening minerals you can ever take. Everybody should be using the sweeties, diabetic or not. I'm not an official diabetic. I use the sweeties after every meal. The B complex, super resensitizing, especially thiamine, vitamin B1, and niacin, vitamin B3. Magnesium can help resensitize the insulin response. Zinc, vitamin A, taurine, arginine. These are all wonderful nutrients that can help resensitize the insulin response. Selenium, alpha lipoic acid, MSM sulfur. Again, these are all great nutrients for resensitizing the insulin response, slowing down the aging process, and helping speed up the healing of wounds, all via their blood sugar and insulin effects, their effects on potentizing insulin and reducing blood sugar. And because wounds, skin wounds are such an important part of the aging process, there's a skin aging connection to wounds that don't heal. wrinkles and sun damage and other visible signs of father time on the skin are all kind of elements of wounds that don't heal. Tissue that's not regenerating effectively. It's not really a wound, perhaps. Aging skin and wrinkles and photo damage, not technically a wound, but they're similar in the sense that they're the manifestation of tissue that is slow or not healing at all. I've been in the skincare business formulating products, studying products, developing ingredients and developing products, working directly with patients. And in my opinion, not understanding this connection between sugar and insulin and aging skin is one of the most important factors when it comes to the ineffectiveness of the vast majority, 90% plus, maybe 99% of the skincare products we use and we buy. I'm telling you, every time I see a commercial on TV with some supermodel or some movie star or some doctor who supposedly has formulated his latest miracle cream that came from a melon that grows off the coast of France, I want to throw my shoe at the television. They're lying to us and they're lying to you. I know how the sausage is made, folks. And there's not a single skincare product, unless it's a healing product, that is going to make a whit's bit of difference on your collagen or connective tissue. Now, I say, except for healing products, and this is very, very important. If your anti-aging product, your anti-aging skincare product, is not going to help you heal a wound, you're wasting your money and being ripped off, because the same kind of mechanism that's involved in healing the wound is what's involved in anti-aging, growing connective tissue, growing cells, making stuff happen in the skin. If you're buying a skincare product that you buy in a department store or from a doctor and you can't put it on a wound to accelerate the healing of that wound, you're wasting your money. Now, I've been sending out some wound healing cream. I formulated a wound healing scar prevention cream. Some of you, you'll start to be getting this. I started sending out the first set of packages this week, and you'll see that this wound healing cream that you put on wounds and accelerates the healing of wounds will also have great anti-aging effects and will make your skin different. Why? Because wound healing and anti-aging go hand in hand. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We'll be back after this. Don't go away. Okay. This is from an article from Medscape. Office visits in the United States for diabetes rose 20% from 2005 to 2010. There's currently almost 30 million Americans who are diabetic, probably another 30 million who are pre-diabetic, maybe more. That's 1 out of every 5 to 10 Americans have some kind of blood sugar problems. That's what they tell us. There's probably a lot more than that. On an annual basis, the cost of diabetes is approaching $300 billion. Can you believe this? A third of $1 trillion nearly, the cost of diabetes. And it's so tragic because it's an eating disease, period. Diabetes is a food disease. And it's so, so tragic. It's tragic for every system in the body. It's tragic for families. It's tragic for our country. And it's tragic for our skin, too. Nothing will mess up your skin faster than messed up blood sugar. And if you're dealing with accelerated aging, hyperpigmentation, wrinkles, skin problems, even acne and oily skin, that can also be related to dysglycemia, messed up blood sugar. It isn't a topical skincare problem as much as it is a biochemical problem. Think insulin. As I said before the break, if your topical products aren't healing your skin, they aren't doing much for anti-aging. If your topical product is not, you can't put it on a cut or a wound to heal that cut or wound, it isn't going to be do much for anti-aging, no matter what Cindy Crawford or the French doctor with that grows his melon off the coast of France tells you. I hate to pick on those guys, but they're particularly egregious when it comes to the rip-offs of skincare. Anyway, in addition to insulin, there's other hormonal issues associated with wound healing. Most of the important growth and repair, in addition to insulin, most of the important growth and repair and anti-aging hormones that you can use for wound healing come from cholesterol. Cholesterol is another misunderstood element when it comes to the wound healing process. Skin that doesn't have as much cholesterol in it, cholesterol is actually made in the skin, is more sensitive to light. It's more sensitive to ultraviolet radiation. There's studies that show that people who are on statin drugs have higher rates of melanoma and skin cancer. That's because of cholesterol's protective effect on the skin. These hormones that are derived from cholesterol, these growth and repair and anti-aging hormones that come from cholesterol, we call them steroid hormones to distinguish them from the other class of hormones, which are called peptide hormones. Those are the two major classes of hormones, steroids and peptide hormones. Your steroid hormones are your building hormones, your growth hormones, your repair hormones, your anti-aging hormones, and your wound healing hormones. And they come from cholesterol, testosterone, progesterone, estrogen. They all play a role in wound healing. And this explains why, at least partially, why slow wound healing is associated with aging, which is itself associated with deficits in these building hormones, these anabolic. Anabolic means building. Deficits in these anabolic building hormones are associated with deficiencies or problems. Deficits in wound healing, deficiencies in wound healing are associated with shortages in these building anabolic hormones. Steroid hormones all have one thing in common: they're cholesterol. Now, I say this, and a lot of chemists will tell you that they're derived from cholesterol, but it wouldn't be that far off to say that they're actually forms of cholesterol. Testosterone is a form of cholesterol. Progesterone is a form of cholesterol. Estrogen is a form of cholesterol, at least from a structural or from a shape standpoint. If this idea that all of these building hormones, these growth hormones, these anti-aging hormones, these wound healing hormones are actually types of cholesterol, if this doesn't highlight the absolute ignorance of the statin drug hypothesis that says you can take a medication that poisons the cholesterol making process, if the idea that cholesterol, these steroid hormones are forms of cholesterol and statin drugs suppress cholesterol doesn't tell you how stupid the statin drug hypothesis is, I don't know what will. These steroid hormones that are actually, in essence, types of cholesterol are suppressed by statin drugs. Even WebMD tells you that statin drugs will lower testosterone and libido, and this is all based on a study that was published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine and put on WebMD. Google WebMD and statin drugs and testosterone. It just makes sense. You don't need WebMD or the Journal of Sexual Medicine to tell you this. These things are types of cholesterol. Statin drugs suppress cholesterol. That means statin drugs will suppress these kinds of hormones. Just biochemical common sense tells you that. One of the most important of these cholesterol-type steroid hormones is something called DHEA. Now, you don't hear that much about DHEA these days. I remember, about 10, 15 years ago, DHEA was all the rage. I hope it's because people have now gotten used to the idea of how important DHEA is. It's available on the internet. You can get it at health food stores and vitamin shops. Most people have heard of DHEA. It's super, super important. It's the jumping off point to all our steroid cholesterol hormones, with possibly the exception of progesterone. Estrogen, testosterone, cortisol, all of these hormones that are so involved in growth and repair and helping the body handle stresses are derived from DHEA. It's a raw material, if you will, for testosterone and estrogen, not to mention, as I say, the stress hormone cortisol. And when it comes to wound healing and anti-aging, wound healing and anti-aging are somewhat equivalent. When it comes to wound healing and anti-aging, DHEA can be a major help for slow healing wounds. The relationship between DHEA's anti-aging properties, which are absolutely legendary, just Google DHEA and anti-aging, you'll get hundreds of hits. You'll get dozens of pages on DHEA and anti-aging. It's really legendary how powerful DHEA is when it comes to anti-aging. It turns out that DHEA also has, no surprise, wonderful wound healing properties, and this again highlights the relationship between healing from wounds and reversing, or at least slowing down, the aging process. The signs of aging are similar to the signs of wounding. The signs of aging are at least similar to the signs of slow healing wounding, or wounds that don't heal. The visible and unpleasant health issues that we all deal with as we age, the wrinkles and the photo damage and the weak muscles and the fatigue, all of these things that are associated with the aging process are similar to wounding. And when you keep this in mind, you understand this idea that anything you do to improve wounding is going to improve and slow down the aging process. It all has to do with the idea that the body's in this constant breakdown, build-up balance. Breakdown and build-up, breakdown and build-up. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back from our break, and we'll take your phone calls as well. 855-660-4261 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. All right, so the body's always in this process of breaking down and building up, breaking down and building up. Wound healing is when the breakdown process is superseding the build-up process, or I should say delayed wound healing is when the build-up process is not happening as fast as the breakdown process is occurring. And that's pretty much what happens when we're aging. The idea to anti-age or to speed up the healing of wounds is to do a U-turn. turn that system around so we're building up faster than we're breaking down. So we're anabolizing, that's building up, faster than we're catabolizing, that's breaking down. We'll continue this discussion on our next Bright Side episode, and I'll tell you about some really interesting hormones that you never think about when it comes to wound healing, especially one in particular that gets a bad reputation that I'm guilty of a little bit of ripping on, and we'll tell you about that on our next Bright Side episode. Time to hit our phones. 855-660-4261 is our number on the Bright Side. Let's go to Gerald in Austin, Texas. What is up, Gerald? Welcome to the Bright Side. Hey, Gerald.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's cooking?
Oh, I was calling. Actually, you kind of already answered my question.
Okay.
And in your opening, I was in Austin when you were here last weekend.
Okay.
And I was the one that asked the question about chromium and diabetes.
You're sitting in the front? Was that you in the front? Or I remember you, yeah. So what's going on?
But you answered it. I was going to ask what's the best source, but I guess the best source to get the chromium would be the sweeties.
That's the best in terms of nutritional supplements you're talking about? What's the best source? Yeah, the Sweeties is designed. The Sweeties is designed to provide you with chromium and vanadium, and it is specifically meant for blood sugar, but it'll also help you with blood fats, and it'll also help you with may even help you with your blood pressure as well. Chromium, by the way, if you're interested in getting it from foods, is found in grains. Whole grain products are the best source of chromium. There's probably some in meat as well as in veggies, but grains are really, that is whole grains. And of course, when processed grains, you're going to lose a lot of your nutrients, and that's one of the reasons why people deal with chromium deficiencies. I personally would be supplementing with 200 micrograms of chromium, or you can use the Sweeties. I think that's 100 micrograms of chromium, and you could take 3 or 4 of those a day. But make sure you take them with sugar and after meals. So chromium is great for blood pressure, for sugar, and also for blood fats. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah, and I wanted to say one last thing.
Sure.
I wanted to say I really appreciated your talk, and I've been listening to you for years, and I share your same kind of passion. You know, I've been, I got into the Dead Doctors Don't Lie stuff, started taking colloidal minerals and all that stuff in the late 90s, and then I got into the raw foods, and I've gone through the whole gamut, and landed with basically what Youngevity's doing, and
nice.
I'm really excited about it. And I wanted to say I really shared your passion, and
thank you.
very
I appreciate
passionate.
that. What would you tell somebody, Gerald, as a layperson? What would you tell somebody who's listening for the first time or who's skeptical about nutrition? Or
I came up with a metaphor for it, and it was like. I kind of feel your pain in the sense that when you're dealing with individuals, they're kind of blinded or mesmerized by their own malady, and not seeing and kind of take for granted the bigger picture that you're offering. And it's kind of like we're in jail cells, and we're kind of like saying, "Hey Ben, can we get some music or some ice cream in these jail cells?" and you're good. Like saying, "No, you don't understand. The door.
You don't need to be in jail. You don't need to be in jail.
You can just walk right out of jail if you want."
That's right. That's well said. Well said.
And
we're trying to rearrange the furniture in our jail cells, and we don't have to be in jail. We can just get out of jail.
Exactly.
We got the key.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
I definitely think you're the most powerful voice out there, man.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
You're doing some incredible work, and I thank you for it.
Thank you. God bless you, bro. Take care, man. Good to talk to you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's always nice to hear. All right, let's see. We'll go to let's go to North Carolina. Say hi to Tera. What's up, Tera? How you doing?
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Tera.
My husband, of course, we take the thing of tangerine and the starter pack and all that.
Okay.
But Justin wanted me to call in and ask if there's something that he's not taking. He noticed a couple weeks ago.
Tera, you're cutting out, sweetheart. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. I didn't hear what you said. Something about Justin?
Yeah, he a couple weeks ago he started noticing his teeth were getting clear from the bottom, and now they're working their way up to the top.
You mean clear like whitening? They're getting whiter?
No, they're not. Like his teeth were white. They're like turning transparent. And so he looked it up, and it said he's deficient in something. So I was wondering if you've ever heard anything about that, or
it sounds like an enamel issue. It sounds like an wear and tear issue. Is there any yellowing or anything?
Yeah, like it's happening really fast. Like at first I just thought he wasn't brushing his teeth, but he is. He brushes his teeth all the time, and it's like his teeth are fading.
Yeah, it sounds like it's an enamel issue. It's not uncommon, especially if there's some yellowing involved. A couple of things. There's minerals in the saliva that are specifically, they're manipulated, they're chemically changed by the saliva so that they can be absorbed a little bit more readily. You may have a calcium issue, you may have a saliva issue as well, but there's got to be other things going on. It's not just if you have a problem with the saliva or the teeth or mineral absorption, then he's got to have some other things going on. And without seeing other symptoms, it's going to be hard to figure out or pinpoint what the problem is. I would be looking at absorption of minerals through the digestive tract. Excuse me. That's always the first thing you want to look at. Of course, he's going to have other symptoms if that is the case. Is there anything else going on? Any digestive changes in the digestive system, bowel movement, gas problems, or heartburn or anything like that? Those are really where you want to focus. He's young, too. He's not even 30, is he? Your husband?
No.
Yeah, he's kind of, there's got to be other stuff happening. If that is indeed the case, and that's kind of a sign that something is percolating in there, I'd be looking at absorption out of the gut. It could also have something to do with intake of nutrients, but it sounds like he's on a supplement program. I would be looking at digestive health issues. Get on if he's not already, start using probiotics and the digestive enzymes, and start using apple cider vinegar after meals. Anything you could do to improve mineral absorption is going to be in his interest, and that's really where I would be focusing on, the mineral absorption or intake of minerals as well. All right?
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Tara. Okay, let's go to Tampa, Florida. What's up, Stephanie? Welcome to the Bright Side. Good morning.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing good. How can we help you today?
I have a reoccurring rash that started it started in October, and it's come and go for obviously almost a year now. But recently, I've noticed that it's been coming once a month. Closer, I've noticed about a month before I get my cycle.
A month before? No, you mean a week before you get your cycle?
No, a week before my cycle, I've noticed.
Okay. Well, that's all good news. That's all really, really, really good news. Because the fact that it's good news because it's coming and going, that means that you can link it to something that you're doing. And the fact that you're noticing it's coming a week before your period when your estrogen drops, that's also good news too. Hang tight, I'll tell you what I mean when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We will be back right after this. Don't go away. All right, we're back on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Stephanie in Florida. Hey, Steph, you there? Stephanie, about a skin rash. Stephanie.
Yes.
Hey, so you're noticing it occurs a week before your period. Your menstrual cycle begins, and that's kind of a good thing because that means it's associated with your estrogen, the drop in estrogen that occurs right around a week before your period. Your estrogen drops, and estrogen is very, very important when it comes to. We were talking about estrogen, and we will be talking about estrogen in the skin coming up here. But estrogen and the skin are intimately connected. Deficiencies in estrogen or drops in estrogen are associated with skin dryness. They're associated with wrinkles and accelerated aging, and they're associated with rashes as well. And there's an interesting connection between dry skin and rashes. So I'm guessing that you're having a problem with your estrogen. Your estrogen's dropping precipitously. So a couple things you want to do. Number one, most important, make sure you're using essential fatty. I'll let you say something here in a second. Hang on to this.
Sure. Go ahead.
Make sure you're getting enough fats, essential fatty acids for all estrogen problems, migraine headaches that occur with drops in estrogen, skin changes that occur, mood changes that occur with the drop in estrogen. Think essential fatty acids, especially if you notice that you're craving fatty foods. I'd be using the Ultimate EFAs, 9 of them a day, and then make sure you're using digestive enzymes and apple cider vinegar with the essential fatty acids. And there's a couple other things, but go ahead. You have something you want to say?
Well, recently I'm competing in a fitness competition. So I have strenuous exercise. I'm sweating a lot.
Well, it's not the sweat. The sweat's not.
I am using a holistic nutritionist who has me on all the good oils. The only thing I haven't been taking, she has prescribed it, is a digestive enzyme, but she has me on what you just prescribed as far as the apple cider vinegar.
She does have you on apple cider vinegar?
She has me on apple cider vinegar. She has me on flax oil. She has me on cod liver oil.
And does that's not helping your skin at all? You're not noticing change?
No, not
okay,
at all.
well, hang on. Let's work with this then. Flaxseed oil is a great source of omega-3 fats, and fish oil is also a good source of omega-3 fats, but they're not sources of omega-6 fats. And omega-6 fats are more important for keeping your skin moist and soft and young-looking and anti-rashed than omega-3 fats. Omega-3 fats are important. They're anti-inflammatory. They definitely have a role to play, but you want to make sure you're getting enough omega-6s. So throw in some evening primrose oil, and you can use the Ultimate EFAs, which contain omega-6 fats. You may also want to throw in a specialized form of omega-6 fats. You have to buy this at a health food store called GLA, and that's also important for bodybuilding and weightlifting too. GLA. You can also apply GLA topically right on the skin. Evening primrose oil actually is a good source of GLA, and you can use that topically. Vitamin A does your nutritionist have you on vitamin A also?
She does not.
You
and
should be using. Get on. Yes, 20,000 IU of vitamin A, especially if you're bodybuilding. I call vitamin A vitamin anabolic because it's a building vitamin. So 20,000 IU of vitamin A, and throw in 50 milligrams of zinc picolinate a day with that.
I'm taking zinc twice a day.
50 milligrams, not more than 50.
50 in the morning and 50 at night.
Bad move, and your nutritionist should have told you about that. Don't take more than 50 milligrams a day. Interestingly, when you take too much zinc, it can duplicate or mimic the symptoms of too little zinc. So you want to stay on 50 milligrams and make sure it's the picolinate form. And then use your zinc and your vitamin A with fatty foods, with your EFAs, with your GLA, and with digestive enzymes. And then also, you'd be very smart to throw in the Biolumin Nightly Essence probiotics, taking 3 in the morning and 3 at night. And then last but most certainly not least is 400 international units of vitamin E a day. Look for the mixed tocopherol form of vitamin E. And actually, mixed tocopherol. And now that I think about it, throw in some selenium, Ultimate Selenium, which has some very important estrogen balancing effects. 200 to 400 micrograms of that a day. Will you call me back or send me an email? Let me know how you're doing.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, Ben.
Yeah, call us back on the program. Or actually, I'd prefer that everybody could hear how you're doing. So give us a call back, Stephanie. Thanks so much for calling from Tampa, Florida. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Go to Steve in Virginia. What's up, buddy? Welcome to the bright side.
Yes, hello. Thank you. It's always good to speak with you.
Hey, Steve.
We have a friend we see occasionally in the one of the stores, and she was apparently having gallbladder problems. And she actually studied medicine in another country several years, but she seems to be more aware of things. And I know it can get you upset, but we were actually laughing when the doctor told her, "Oh, let's just cut it out. You don't need it."
That's what the doctor said.
And we were laughing about it, but I mean, it's really not funny. But
it's not hysterically funny, but it's ironically funny. Yes, the doctor tells her.
But we told her we would check with you and see maybe some things that she could try.
Absolutely, gallbladder is very important. There's a very important connection between fats and the gallbladder, and foods in the gallbladder. The gallbladder is a digestive organ. If you got gallbladder problems, you got a digestive problem. If you got a digestive problem, you got a food problem. And that's easy because we're in control of food. Nobody's sticking food in our blood and down our throats. It's our choice. So focus on fatty foods, number one. Actually, even more importantly, link the gallbladder pain to specific foods and then eliminate those foods. And you'll find that most of the time those foods are fatty. Use lecithin, Lecithin. I know you know what that is, Steve, but for listeners, anytime you have a gallbladder problem, you want to start using lecithin. I like the granules. You can mix them up in a smoothie, or you can actually just put them in water and drink it down. It doesn't really dissolve in water, but you can drink it down in water. And then use the Ultimate enzymes, which have bile salts in those after all meals. Everybody should be using the Ultimate enzymes after all meals, but especially if you have a gallbladder problem. And then we don't talk about this anywhere near enough on this program, or I don't hear anybody talking about this enough, but there's a very important connection between fat malabsorption and good bacteria in the gut. So anytime you have a gallbladder problem or a liver problem or any other fat malabsorption issues, get yourself on probiotics, good bacteria. We're going to be talking about them for wound healing, probiotics for wound healing next week. But they're vitally, vitally important for all digestive issues, including fat malabsorption. And you can consider a gallbladder problem to be a fat malabsorption problem. So make sure that you're on the Biolumin Nightly Essence, my favorite probiotic supplement, 3 in the morning, 3 at night. You might also want to turn your friend on to the Jordan Rubin's wonderful probiotic products, the Suero V and the omacai, and also the probiotic-enriched cheese. And then a couple other miscellaneous nutrients for helping with the bile system. Taurine, Taurine, the amino acid that we talk about for wound healing and anti-aging, is also important as a component of bile. And so is choline, choline. Choline is also important as a component of bile. Using stomach bitters, Swedish bitters, which can help stimulate the secretion of bile before meals, especially before fatty meals, can have a nice beneficial effect for the gallbladder. You can also use bitter vegetables like parsley or kale at the beginning of your meal, and that will also stimulate some digestive juices. It'll stimulate bile and digestive acids as well. So got lots of great strategies. Nobody ever should have a gallbladder taken out unless there's cancer in there. Certainly having gallbladder pain and having stones is not a reason to remove a gallbladder, and any medical professional who tells you that needs to go back and read the Hippocratic Oath, which says do no harm. Taking out a gallbladder is a classic example of doing harm. So if a medical doctor tells you, oh, we can just yank that thing out, you don't need it, find yourself another doctor and maybe give the guy a copy of the Hippocratic Oath, ask him to do some homework on it. Thanks so much, Steve. Hope I helped you. Anything else going on? Is that good?
No, and thank you very much. We did mention a couple of the things to the lady, but this will be very helpful. We really appreciate it.
Good deal. God bless you, my friend. Take care. Okay, Mark in New Hampshire, welcome to the bright side. Got about a minute left for you.
Greetings, Ben. I have a question and a testimonial for you.
Oh, good. Let's do the testimonial first.
Well, about 2 weeks ago, I blew something out in my lower back. It's pain I've never felt before, and I didn't think it was muscle or joint issue, so it had to be a herniated disc. And I threw everything at it, longevity and non-longevity. And about 2 days ago, I remembered you said, use the digestive enzymes, the ultimate enzymes, between meals or on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
The pain went from a 9 to a 2, and now
Praise
today
God.
it's about a 1.
Praise God. Isn't that cool? How do you like that?
I'm baffled. I mean, the CM capsules, the CM cream, curcumin, turmeric, everything I threw at it. I don't take Tylenol or, aspirin, so I emptied out my arsenal of stuff, and the ultimate enzymes
Did
were
the trick.
magic.
That's amazing. And also, not just for you, Mark, but anybody out there, if you're having surgery, get on those ultimate enzymes, load up on those ultimate enzymes pre-surgery, and you'll speed up the healing process. Real quick, what's your question, buddy? We got running out of time.
I applied some ointment to a person's ankles yesterday, and one of the legs started to feel really warm about an hour later, and I'm wondering, is that an allergic reaction
Not
or
necessarily.
fever?
Did you say essential oils?
No, it's just some sort of moisturizing ointment, over-the-counter type antiseptic.
That could have been an allergic reaction. I need a little bit more information. Can you call back on Monday? Because we're out of time. I'd like to get some more information. Thank you so much for your call, and thanks for sharing that. That's really helpful information. Ultimate enzymes between meals, great for inflammation, inflammatory pain, dental pain, sinus pain. This is the power of nutritional supplementation. This is what we talk about every day on The Bright Side. Thank you so much, friends, for listening. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have yourselves a wonderful, awesome, spectacular, beautiful day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.